There's a yellow box in your kitchen right now that costs about $1. Half the internet swears it will make your tomatoes sweeter. That half is flat out wrong, and following it can quietly wreck your soil for years. But the other half? Some of those tricks are backed by actual published research from real universities. So today, we're separating the 9 baking soda tomato tricks that genuinely work from the 3 that will burn your plants. Let's get into it. Number 1, the preventative blight spray. This is the big one, and it's also the one people get wrong most often. So let's be precise. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. When you dissolve it in water and mist it onto a tomato leaf, it raises the pH right there on the leaf surface. Fungal spores, the ones responsible for early blight, and septoria leaf spot, the 2 diseases that turn the bottom of your tomato plants into yellow and brown confetti every August, need slightly acidic conditions on that leaf surface to germinate and dig in. Make the surface alkaline, and a lot of those spores simply never get started. Here's the part almost nobody tells you. Baking soda is fungistatic, not fungicidal. Read that again. It does not kill fungus. It stops spores from germinating, which means the entire trick only works if you spray before you have a problem, not after. If your plant already has brown bullseye lesions marching up the stem, baking soda is not going to reverse that. Those leaves are done. You are protecting the healthy tissue above them. The recipe that university trials actually support is weak, much weaker than what you'll see in most videos. 1 teaspoon per quart of water, or 1 tablespoon per gallon. That's it. Add a teaspoon of horticultural oil or a couple of drops of plain dish soap, because baking soda by itself beads up and rolls right off a waxy tomato leaf. The oil is what makes it stick and spread. Spray in the early morning so the foliage dries completely before nightfall. Get the undersides of the leaves. That's where spores set up shop. Reapply after every rain because this stuff washes off almost immediately. And be honest with yourself about the ceiling here. Research consistently shows baking soda has a short residual life on foliage and mixed results in real-world field conditions compared to the Petri dish. It is a first line of defense, not a cure. Mulch spacing, drip irrigation, and pruning. The bottom 12 inches of your plants will do more for blight than any spray bottle ever will. Number 2, slowing down powdery mildew. Powdery mildew doesn't get talked about with tomatoes as much as blight does, but if you're growing in a greenhouse, a hoop house, or anywhere with warm days, cool nights, and stagnant air, you know exactly what those talcum powder patches look like. This is actually where bicarbonate has its longest track record. Gardeners and researchers have been experimenting with baking soda on powdery mildew since at least the 1980s, and it's one of the few fungal problems where the leaf surface pH trick performs reasonably well. The mildew grows on the outside of the leaf rather than burrowing deep into the tissue, which means an alkaline coating actually reaches it. Same dilution as before, 1 tablespoon per gallon, a little oil to help it cling. Start at the first white speck, not the first white patch. And here's a tip most people skip. Prune out the worst affected leaves and get them out of the garden before you spray. Don't compost them. You're removing the spore factory, then protecting what's left. One thing worth knowing, if you go looking for commercial organic mildew products, you'll notice they're almost all potassium bicarbonate, not sodium bicarbonate. That's not an accident, and we'll come back to why in a few minutes. It matters more than you'd think. Number 3, washing pesticide residue off store-bought tomatoes. This one isn't folklore. This is peer-reviewed chemistry, and it's genuinely useful. In 2017, a research team at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, led by food scientist Lily He, published a study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry. They took organic gala apples, deliberately applied 2 common pesticides, a fungicide called thiabendazole and an insecticide called phosmet, let them sit for 24 hours, and then tested 3 different washing methods against them: plain tap water, a commercial Clorox bleach solution like the one used in processing plants, and a simple 1% baking soda solution, the baking soda one. Not by a little. Tap water barely made a dent. The bleach solution, the one your produce was probably already washed in before it hit the shelf, wasn't designed to remove pesticides at all. It's there to kill microbes. But the baking soda solution completely removed the surface residues of both pesticides. It took about 12 minutes for one and 15 minutes for the other. Why does it work? The alkaline solution chemically breaks down those pesticide molecules into fragments that rinse away easily. Plain water just doesn't have the chemistry to do that. To use it, 1 teaspoon of baking soda per 2 cups of water, that's roughly the 1% solution they tested. Drop your tomatoes in, let them soak 12 to 15 minutes, then rinse with clean water and dry them. 2 honest caveats. First, the study was done on apples, not tomatoes, but the mechanism is surface chemistry, and it's been validated on grapes, lemons, and strawberries too. Second, and this is important, the researchers found the wash only removes what's on the surface. Anything that had already penetrated into the peel stayed put. So this is a meaningful reduction, not a magic decontamination. Still, for a teaspoon of $1-a-box powder, that's a pretty good return. Number 4, deep cleaning your cages, stakes, and pots. Here's the thing about tomato diseases that most home gardeners never fully absorb. The fungus does not vanish over winter. Early blight overwinters on plant debris and on whatever hard surfaces it was clinging to. That crusty tomato cage you shove behind the shed in October, it is a launching pad for next July. Baking soda is a mild abrasive with a hardness that scrubs off caked-on soil, mineral crust, and old plant residue without scratching plastic pots or stripping the galvanized coating off your cages. Make a paste, about a cup of baking soda to a 1/4 cup of water, and go after your cages, stakes, seed trays, and nursery pots with a stiff brush. Rinse well. It will pull off years of accumulated gunk, and you are not breathing bleach fumes while you do it. But I want to be very clear here, because this is where a lot of natural cleaning content lies to you. Baking soda cleans, it does not sterilize. It has no meaningful disinfectant power. What it does is remove the organic debris where pathogens hide, which is genuinely the first and most important step. You cannot sanitize a dirty surface because the crud shields the microbes. So do it as a 2-step. Scrub with baking soda paste first. Then, if you had a real disease problem last season, follow up with a 10% bleach solution or 70% isopropyl alcohol for the actual sanitizing. Baking soda gets it clean. The second step gets it safe. Number 5, the 5-minute soil pH check. You want to know something wild? Most people who obsess over tomato problems have never once tested their soil, and pH quietly controls whether the nutrients already in your dirt are even available to the plant. Tomatoes want a pH somewhere around 6.2 to 6.8, slightly acidic. Push too far outside that window and you can have plenty of calcium in the soil and still get blossom end rot, because the roots can't access it. You can get a rough read in 5 minutes. Take 2 small containers, put a spoonful of soil in each. Into the first, pour a little white vinegar. If it fizzes, your soil is alkaline. The acid is reacting with carbonates. Into the second, add just enough distilled water to make mud, then sprinkle in some baking soda. If that fizzes, your soil is acidic. The base is reacting with the acid in your soil. If neither one does anything, you're sitting somewhere around neutral, which for tomatoes is fine. This exact method is published by Extension Services, including Washington State University, so it's not internet nonsense. But understand what it is and isn't. It tells you a direction, not a number. It won't distinguish a pH of 5.9 from a pH of 4.8. And those two soils are wildly different growing environments. It's a free gut check that tells you whether it's worth spending $15 on a real test kit or, better yet, mailing a sample to your county extension office, which in a lot of states will run a full nutrient panel for you, cheap. Use garden soil, not potting mix, and use distilled water. Tap water in a lot of American cities is deliberately alkaline to protect the pipes, and it will skew your result. Number 6. Taming a sauce that bites back. All right, let's leave the garden and go to the stove because this trick is real. Chemistry, and it saves dinner. You've made a marinara. It looks perfect. Then you taste it, and there's that sharp metallic bite at the back of your throat. Your first instinct is to dump in sugar. That's the wrong move. Sugar doesn't remove acid. It just parks a competing flavor next to it, and now you're tasting a sour sauce and a sweet sauce fighting each other. The result is heavy and muddled. Baking soda actually removes the acid. Tomatoes get their tang mostly from citric and malic acid. Sodium bicarbonate is a base. Introduce them and you get a genuine neutralization reaction. The acids convert to salts, water, and carbon dioxide. That's the fizz you see. The sauce doesn't just taste less acidic, it is less acidic. And with the acid dialed back, the tomato's own natural sugars finally come forward. The dose is tiny, and this is where people ruin a good pot of sauce. For a batch made from two 28-ounce cans, start with 1/8 of a teaspoon. 1/8. Stir it in, let it fizz out, taste. Add another 1/8 only if you need it. Go too far, and the sauce turns flat, soapy, and metallic, an unmistakable, unfixable wrongness. If you overshoot slightly, a squeeze of lemon juice can pull it back. This is a lifesaver with cheap canned tomatoes, which are often picked underripe and taste harsh, and with sauce, you're freezing, since acidity often reads sharper after thawing. Now the warning, and please hear this one. Never ever add baking soda to tomatoes you are canning. Never. The USDA and every extension service in the country tell you to add acid to home canned tomatoes. 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice or half a teaspoon of citric acid per quart, because modern tomato varieties can drift above a pH of 4.6, and above 4.6, Clostridium botulinum can grow and produce toxin inside that sealed jar. Botulism is not a stomachache. It's a paralytic poisoning that kills people. Adding a base to canning tomatoes takes them in exactly the wrong direction. Baking soda belongs in the pot you're eating tonight, or freezing, never in the jar you're shelving. Number 7, erasing tomato stains from plastic containers. Every single one of us has a plastic container that is permanently, aggressively orange. You've run it through the dishwasher 9 times. It's still orange. Here's why. Tomatoes are loaded with lycopene, the carotenoid that makes them red. Lycopene is fat-soluble and pigment-stable, and plastic, especially polypropylene, is slightly porous and slightly oily at a molecular level. The lycopene, usually riding along with the olive oil in your sauce, migrates into those pores and settles in. Your dishwasher's water-based detergent can't reach it. That's why it survives. Baking soda works on 2 fronts at once. It's mildly alkaline, which helps break down the oil carrying the pigment, and it's gently abrasive, which physically lifts the stained layer without scratching the surface into a worse texture that stains even faster. Make a thick paste, 3 parts baking soda, 1 part water. Smear it over the stained area, actually coat it. Let it sit for at least 15 minutes. Overnight is better for a container that's been orange since the Obama administration. Then scrub with a sponge and rinse. For truly hopeless cases, upgrade the technique, put a couple tablespoons of baking soda in the container, add warm water, snap the lid on, and shake it hard for 30 seconds. The suspended particles scour every interior surface at once, including the corners you can't reach. Same paste works on tomato stains on butcher block, on a cutting board, and on those yellow-orange stains on your countertop grout. Number 8. Scrubbing tomato tar off your hands and pruners. If you've ever spent an hour suckering tomato plants, you know the feeling. Your hands come away sticky, dark green, and faintly smelling like a tomato plant for the rest of the day. Soap doesn't touch it. That residue comes from the trichomes, the tiny glandular hairs covering tomato stems. Brush against them, and they rupture, releasing a sticky resin loaded with terpenes and other compounds. It's the plant's chemical defense system, and it's genuinely designed not to wash off in the rain, which is why your regular hand soap loses. Baking soda beats it mechanically. Make a paste in your palm. Work it in for 30 seconds, focusing on your fingertips, nail beds, and knuckles, then rinse. The abrasive particles physically break up the resin film. Adding a squeeze of lemon juice helps. The acid reacts with the base, and the fizzing action gets into skin creases. Do the exact same thing to your pruners. That green tar builds up on the blades, gums up the pivot, and dulls your cuts, and a crushed, ragged cut on a tomato stem is a wide-open door for disease. A quick baking soda scrub, a rinse, a thorough dry, and a drop of oil on the pivot, and your pruners will outlive you. Number 9. Rescuing the pot you scorched. You reduced a sauce a little too enthusiastically, and now the bottom of your favorite pot is welded with a black layer that laughs at your sponge. Don't attack it with steel wool. You'll ruin the finish. Do this instead. Pour about an inch of water into the pot, add a quarter cup of baking soda, and bring it to a gentle simmer for 10 to 15 minutes. Then turn it off and let it cool. What's happening is a combination of two things. The near boiling water is softening and rehydrating the carbonized layer, and the alkaline solution is attacking the burnt-on proteins and sugars, breaking the chemical bonds, gluing them to the metal. When you come back, a wooden spoon will lift most of that black crust off in sheets. Whatever's left surrenders to a paste of baking soda and a sponge. This works on stainless steel and enameled cast iron. Skip it on bare aluminum, which reacts with alkaline solutions and can discolor, and go easy on nonstick, because the abrasive will shorten its life. Okay, those are the 9 that work. Now for the 3 that get repeated constantly online and will actively hurt your plants. Please don't do these. Number 10, sprinkling it on the soil for sweeter tomatoes. This is the single most repeated baking soda garden myth in America, and it's wrong twice over. The claim goes, baking soda is alkaline. Alkaline soil means less acidic tomatoes means sweeter tomatoes. It sounds logical, it's just not how any of this works. A tomato's sweetness comes from the sugars it manufactures through photosynthesis, and that's governed by genetics first. A sun gold is sweeter than a beefsteak because of its DNA, full stop, then by sunlight hours, water management, and how ripe it was when you picked it. The acidity of the fruit is regulated by the plant's own internal biochemistry. It is not a passive mirror of your soil's pH. Sprinkling a tablespoon of powder on top of the dirt is nowhere near enough to shift the pH of a buffered garden soil in any case. Extension horticulturists have looked at this claim repeatedly and found no clear evidence behind it. Now the part that actually hurts. Look at the name, sodium bicarbonate. It's a salt. Sodium is not a nutrient tomatoes need in any meaningful quantity, and it doesn't break down, it accumulates. Season after season, sodium ions build up in the root zone, where they do 2 nasty things. First, they destroy soil structure. Sodium displaces calcium and magnesium on soil particles and causes clay to deflocculate. The particles disperse and pack down into a dense, poorly draining layer that roots struggle to penetrate and water struggles to move through. Second, salinity raises the osmotic pressure of the soil solution, which makes it physically harder for roots to pull in water. Your plant sits in moist soil and wilts anyway. And because sodium competes with calcium for uptake, you can end up making blossom end rot worse the exact problem people often reach for baking soda to fix. Sodium is also water-soluble, so it doesn't stay where you put it. It spreads to whatever you planted next door. If your soil genuinely needs its pH raised, the answer has been the same for a century: agricultural lime. It's cheap, it works slowly and steadily, and it delivers calcium instead of sodium. Get a real soil test first. Number 11. The stronger is better blight killer. This is where good intentions incinerate a garden. Someone's plants are covered in early blight. They spray the correct weak solution. Nothing happens because, as we established, baking soda doesn't cure existing infections. So they conclude the dose was too weak, and next weekend they mix up something 4 or 5 times stronger, load it with oil, and hit the plants hard in the middle of a hot afternoon. Every single element of that is wrong, and they compound each other. The concentration is the first problem. Sodium burns plant tissue directly. Push past that roughly 1 tablespoon per gallon threshold, and the sodium ions pull water out of leaf cells and cause ion toxicity. You get marginal leaf scorch, browning at the tips and edges, and eventual leaf drop. And every drop that runs off the foliage lands in the root zone, where it starts the same salt accumulation problem we just talked about. The timing is the second problem. Spraying in direct midday sun means the water evaporates fast and leaves concentrated salt crystals sitting on the leaf. You've just made it stronger than you mixed it. Add oil to that equation and heat, and oil-induced phytotoxicity is a well-documented risk on its own. Most horticultural oil labels explicitly tell you not to apply above about 90 degrees. The plant's condition is the third problem. Never spray a plant that's drought-stressed, heat-stressed, or freshly pruned. A stressed plant has closed stomata and compromised defenses, and open pruning wounds are a direct entry route. And never spray seedlings. Young tomato plants haven't developed a mature cuticular wax layer, the leaf's waxy raincoat, and they'll burn. At concentrations, mature plants shrug off. If you want a bicarbonate spray that's actually stronger, the answer isn't more baking soda. It's switching to potassium bicarbonate. Comparative trials have found it delivers better residual activity with significantly lower phytotoxicity. And it is OMRI, listed for organic growing. It's the same trick, minus the sodium. The potassium is even a nutrient your plant wants. It costs a few dollars more, and it's worth every cent. Number 12. Using it as a weed killer anywhere near your tomatoes. The last one is the sneakiest, because it works. That's the trap. Dump dry baking soda on a weed, and the weed dies. It desiccates the foliage, pulling water out of the plant's cells in essentially the same way rock salt does. You'll see results in a day or two, and it feels like a clever, natural win. Here's what's actually happening. You didn't kill the weed, you killed its leaves. Baking soda has no systemic action, so it doesn't travel down into the root system. Perennial weeds with real root reserves, bindweed, thistle, ivy, will resprout, and you'll be back in 2 weeks doing it again. Each time, you add more sodium, and that sodium is highly water-soluble, which means it does not stay on the driveway crack you targeted. First rain, first irrigation, and it moves. Downhill, sideways, into the bed. Extension gardeners are blunt about this. Even sprinkling it in sidewalk and driveway cracks can seep into the adjacent lawn or garden and burn plants you never touched. It's a non-selective herbicide with no root activity and a permanent cumulative side effect. It's the worst possible combination: temporary results, lasting damage. And the damage isn't easy to undo. Excess sodium requires a lot of leaching, good drainage, and often gypsum to remediate. Meanwhile, whatever you plant in that spot underperforms, and you won't connect it to the weeds you killed 2 summers ago. Anywhere near a vegetable bed, pull the weed, smother it with cardboard and mulch, or use a flame weeder. Keep the sodium out. So there it is. Baking soda earns a place in your kitchen, your cleanup routine, and, used lightly and preventatively, your spray bottle. What it never earns is a place in your soil. Which of these are you trying first? Let us know in the comments. If this saved you a few tomato plants, hit that like button and share it with a fellow gardener. And subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a video.